Well, welcome back. Dr. Ben Carson is endorsing former President Trump. He did so in Iowa last weekend. The latest Fox News power rankings has the 45th president the clear-cut top contender for the Republican presidential nomination as we head into the Iowa caucuses, which now is just 71 days away. Joining me right now on his endorsement of the 45th president is the former Housing and Urban Development Secretary, Dr. Ben Carson. Dr. Carson is also the founder of the American Cornerstone Institute. Dr. Carson, thanks very much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me, Maria. It's always
Tell us
great
about
to be
your
on with
endorsement. Thank you. Tell us about your endorsement of President Trump. Why?
Well, I think any objective person recognizes that during the Trump administration in the pre-COVID days, we had a booming economy. We had a secure border. We had energy independence. We had record low unemployment. We had hope for the future. We had respect in the world. And those are good reasons, but there's an even more important reason. On September the 17th, 1787, when Benjamin Franklin came out of that last constitutional convention, he was asked, "Sir, what do we have here? A monarchy or a republic?" And he said, "A republic, if you can keep it." We've kept it for over 240 years, but we're as close to losing it right now as we ever have been, as the enemies of Donald Trump are trying to weaponize our justice system.
Amen.
That are destroying our system of checks and balances without looking into the future, without thinking about the implications of that, and recognizing that without those things in place, we become another two-bit banana republic.
Amen.
And this is a serious issue. And this is not a popularity contest. There's some people say, "I don't like that man. His policies are good, but I don't like him."
Yeah.
They need to stop and think about their children and their grandchildren and the future of this country and what is going to happen and what we are facing and why our system was designed the way it is so that the people could have the final word.
Yeah.
We cannot allow ourselves to be manipulated into thinking that we hate each other.
Yeah. And one of the things that I believe, and I'm thinking about as you're talking, is this gag order on President Trump. He's the leading candidate. He is being faced with these indictments. He's going to have to testify
Shamefully.
in New York, and the judge is saying he can't say a word about anything. Jonathan Turley says it's unconstitutional. You say?
Two-bit banana republic. That's exactly the kind of thing that they do, and we cannot stand for it. We have to be able to be the land of the brave, the land of the free.
Vote Daniel Cameron.
Home of the brave. We have to be brave and stand up for what we believe in.
Well, I want to talk more about that because I think increasingly the population is. I want to get your take on the support for the 45th president. Quick break, and we'll come back with Dr. Ben Carson right after this. Welcome back. I'm back with Dr. Ben Carson. And Dr. Carson, as you know, President Trump is in this New York case this week, and he will likely testify. There's a complaint calling for Trump's New York trial judge's clerk to be disbarred for political donations. I'm wondering what you think people are thinking about all of these indictments and President Trump. The clerk for the New York Justice, Arthur Engoron, appears to have violated judicial rules, preventing officers of the court from making political donations, according to Breitbart. What is your take on that?
Well, my take is that they're clearly doing everything they can to disenfranchise President Trump because they're afraid of him. And there's nothing that they will not consider doing. But the American people are smart enough to recognize what's going on. The reason that he continues to do well in the polls is they know that having an open southern border is an invitation for terrorism.
Absolutely.
And that we're going to suffer the consequences
Absolutely.
of that. Right. They know that continuing to pile debt is going to jeopardize our position as the reserve currency. And when the Chinese gain control of that, they're going to finish the destruction of this nation.
Absolutely.
But they also know that we have a strong history of courage.
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to take right now to save our country.
Vote for Daniel Cameron for governor of Kentucky and send a message.
Some are. Dr. Carson, look at the New York Times this morning saying that Trump is leading Biden in 5 of the critical swing states. He's beating Joe Biden. What are your thoughts on the African-American community today and its support for Donald Trump?
Well, I see a lot more of it starting to occur. There was a time you know, a few years ago when I would go to conservative gatherings and I would only be the only black face there. Now there are lots of black faces, particularly black males, who have looked at some of the things that were done during the previous administration and recognized that those things were beneficial to them, to their communities. So people are starting to think for themselves.
That's
and
right.
What the left doesn't like. They
And
don't
do not listen to the liberal media.
Thank you.
Gee willikers, so
Thank
liberal.
you so much,
so much.
Dr. Ben
Shamefully.
Carson. Good to see you, sir. That'll do it for us. I'll see you tomorrow on Fox Business. Have a good Sunday, everybody.
The chasing.
President is beating President Biden in 5 out of 6 of the key battleground states. That's certainly
Praise the
good news,
Lord.
From the Democrats.
Keep it up
From
and
the
vote
New
for
York
Daniel
Times
Cameron
and
here in
CNN.
Kentucky.
Florida governor and presidential candidate Ron DeSantis, meanwhile, he's trying to separate himself from the other candidates. For more on all of this, Brian Ennis. He's live
A
at
good
the
man,
Summit in
but
Kissimmee, Florida.
not for president this time.
Man, what's the reaction down there, Brian, to this new poll showing former President Trump beating President Biden in those key states?
Well, Eric, look, the numbers are stunning, particularly when you look at why the former president is winning in this poll. And according to this poll, former President Trump has cut President Biden's lead with black and Hispanic voters in half. According to the New York Times Siena poll, take a look at these numbers. Biden's support among non-white voters under 45 years old has plummeted by 33 points since 2020. Support from non-white voters over 45 is down 13 points.
Vote for Daniel Cameron.
The presidential election, Trump
in
is
Kentucky
beating Biden in 5 of the
for
6
governor.
critical swing states by an average of 48 to 44% among registered voters. Trump wins Nevada, Arizona, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Michigan. The only state Biden wins is Wisconsin by just 2 points. And yesterday, Mr. Trump spoke at the Florida Freedom Summit where he declared Florida Trump country in an effort to undermine his closest rival, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Trump announced the endorsements of 7 Florida state legislators, including 5 who flipped their support from DeSantis. Florida Senator Rick Scott and Florida Congressmen Byron Donald and Matt Gaetz spoke and endorsed Trump, who directly mocked DeSantis.
My people said, "Sir, don't hit him. He's a Republican." I said, "I don't care if he's a Republican." And we hit him hard, and now he's like a wounded falling bird from the skies.
DeSantis told the crowd Florida is the model for how he would govern as president. Earlier in the day, I asked DeSantis if voters should expect to continue to see the crude and personal jabs between him and Trump.
I just responded to their nonsense. I'm done with all the trivialities. It's not something that we need to be concerned about. We need to be concerned about looking forward. We need to be concerned about winning and leading.
He's a good man for another
Now,
time.
according to the campaign, Iowa's popular and very influential Republican Governor Kim Reynolds will endorse DeSantis at a rally in Des Moines, Iowa tomorrow. That is a key endorsement for him. We'll see if it makes any difference. As
He's a good man for a different time.
Eric?
All right, Brian,
Donald
thanks so much
Trump's
for
time,
analysis on
and
this here
it's
on Fox News Live.
Daniel Cameron's time.
Right, though?